Back again, back in action, and bringing you a show that we've been doing for a long, long time. A lot of you new folks don't know this, but we started this show as a half an hour show on a little radio station called Seaview, same building actually, North Palm Beach. It was only a half an hour. I think it was on Thursdays. And we've been doing it for 2 decades now. Nancy Stewart, my co-host, founded the show with me. And we've evolved to 2 hours. We've got ourselves a really, really good chain of stations now, the True Oldies. And we cover a blanket South Florida just in terms of radio. But we stream. We stream all over the world. Yes, all over the world. And I think we had some communication with Tasmania not too long ago. One of our regulars, Anne Marie, buzzed us from Tasmania. That's pretty cool. But Australia, India, we have the contacts and the calls, and we just don't know all who is listening. Everybody drives cars, right? Almost, and it's an interesting subject. It's an emotional thing to people. A car is more than just a object. It's not. It's what's more exciting for a young person turn 16, their first car, or maybe 18. It doesn't make any difference. Your first car is really exciting, and of course we're dealing with a phenomenon unmatched in retail. You can't think of another product that's still done the way they sold horses back in 100 years ago, 200 years ago. Haggling, negotiating. There's no such thing as a fixed price on a car anymore, or anymore for 100 years. Since Henry Ford got things going big time, you buy a car, you play the game. Car dealer asks too much money, you offer less, and you go back and forth, and hours later, if you're lucky, you might have a car. If you do have a car, you probably paid too much for it. So that's all we are. We're old-fashioned. Why? Because car buying hasn't changed in over 100 years. But we're getting close. We are getting very close to some major changes. We can't forget, though, that the important thing is today. People buy cars now once every 6 or 7 years. You maintain your car all the time, and we talk about that a lot too. So I have to mention Rick Kearney, who is a colleague of mine for the past quarter century. And when he was just a kid, he was taking engines apart and transmissions apart, and he's been doing that for 25 plus years, and he's pretty good at it. He's better at it in a lot of ways because the cars have become, they started out as a mechanical device, and now it's a software device. Really, it'll eventually be almost totally software. It is very complex, and algorithms and all that kind of stuff. And so you practically have to stay in school. He used to go to school maybe once a year. He's online all the time now because of the rapid advance in technology. That's a good news and bad news. Good news for the owners, you have fewer problems with cars. The bad news for the owners is when you do have a problem, it's more complex, very difficult to diagnose, oftentimes requiring high-priced equipment, at the very least, high-skilled people to do the diagnosis. And that's the reason we have Rick Kearney here. And if you got a telephone, a smartphone, or something like that, we'd love to have you call Rick. And if you've got a problem with your car, you've been into a dealership or an independent repair, and they haven't been able to give you a good answer, or maybe they've given you an obscene price that you just know can't be right, give Rick a call at 877-960-9960. Now, you won't have a question now because we're moving fast here, but you might have a question in a half an hour or so. Write this number down. When you come back and start watching or listening again, write this number down, 877-960-9960. Again, that's 877-960-9960. And my wife, Nancy Stewart, sitting in this studio right now, she has a laptop computer, and when you call our control room puts the call through, puts your name in, and the fact that you're holding. We have 5 lines coming in, so we stop what we're doing in the show. If someone's yakking like I am right now, Nancy waves at me, points to her laptop. She says, "Hello, Bob," or "Hello, Charlie," or whoever is calling. Hopefully, "Hello, Lori," or "Hello, Mary," because we're looking for female callers all the time. So Nancy Stewart will stop us from doing what we're doing to take a phone call. We prioritize your phone calls. 877-960-9960. Nancy and I were talking on the car coming in to the studio, and we were saying, well, what are we going to talk about today? And we always say the same thing. We answer ourselves. We're going to talk about what our callers want to talk about. I mean, we're in the business. We're car dealers. In full disclosure, we have a Toyota dealership in North Palm Beach, Florida. But we don't want to talk about what interests us. This radio show is what interests you and challenges you in the buying or leasing process, or in the maintaining or just repair process. And you need to know what you're doing, because you can be taken advantage of. We don't want you to be ripped off by anybody. We don't want you to be taken advantage of. And that's kind of like the essence of the show. So that's your call. Nancy will stop us from what we're talking about and take your call. And we try not to keep you waiting. Not that we haven't. We fail sometimes, because we do get a large number of calls. It gets bigger every week, but that's a good thing. 877-960-9960. We have a text number. A lot of folks prefer the text, and I won't go over the reasons. It's obvious. I text a lot. I prefer to text than call people. And that text number is 772-497-6530. 772-497-6530. And we keep these texts as they come in, and then when there's a lull, or whether there's a lull or not, we get to the text before the end of the show. Now, we're on for 2 hours. I mean, we're on from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's a lot of time, and we try to use it constructively, and we will get to your text. You text us at 772-497-6530. And we get some interesting calls also, not calls, but contacts on our anonymous line. We have a line, very few shows that I know of have this sort of an anonymity line. You know, like when you call the cops, or when you call the Internal Revenue Service to report your neighbor. You don't want your neighbor to know you turned him in. Well, we have an anonymous line link, actually, and that anonymous link, you can't be identified. We don't know who you are, where you are. We cannot find you. And it's just as safe as the police anonymous or the IRS anonymous. And that anonymous link is your anonymousfeedback.com. YOURANONYMOUS. Your anonymous feedback, just like it sounds, feedback.com. Your anonymousfeedback.com. So I've covered the basics, probably gacked too much, but I'm going to turn the microphone on to Nancy Stewart, the co-founder of the show, who has single-handedly built the female audience to 50% from zero back 2 decades ago. And we have some amazingly informed, interesting female callers, thanks to Nancy Stewart. Nancy, the mic is all yours.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. It was quite nice. Before me, I have the automotive news. How exciting is this front page? I'll show it to you in a second. But for the 6th time since 2000, automotive news honors 100 leading women. And it's just an amazing time. We haven't, here we have, it's right up. Do you see that, Jonathan? Okay.
100 leading women. Full page.
See? Okay. Let me get back to the show, part of the show. Progress is powerful, and we have become a big part of the auto industry. And, I'm very proud of that. and proud of all of you that have called or thought about calling and called me. But we would like to hear from you this morning, and I have $50 for the first two new lady callers, and $50 for the first two new lady callers. And this morning, I'd like to add the Consumer Report as a gift also to those two ladies. So give us a call at 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. And don't forget your anonymousfeedback.com. We're going to go to Barbara, who's been holding in Stewart. Good morning, Barbara. Good morning, Barbara.
Good morning. How are you all?
Great. Barbara,
Good.
have you called before?
No, this is my first time.
Well, congratulations. You won yourself.
you.
You've won yourself $50 and also a free subscription to the Consumer
Terrific.
Report. And if you stay on the line, you can give Mike in our control room your information. He'll pass that to me, and I'll send that check out to you. What
Thank
can we
you.
do
Thank
for you
you.
this morning?
Okay, well, I have a 2020 Subaru Forester, the base model, and I know it needs an oil change, but that's besides the point. What I've been having lately is I'm not sure if it's the TCV issue, because all of a sudden it stalls out. All the lights come on. I have the eyesight, of course, and that lights up, and then all of a sudden, like a bell goes off, and then it is able to start. But like I said, it has 27,702 miles. Could that be what it is? Or because I did call Schumacher, but of course they didn't call me back. But I don't know if that's the issue.
Rick, what do you have to say?
My first guess on that would possibly be a fuel pump, because I've seen a lot of times with fuel pumps where it'll cause the car to stall, and once the engine shuts off, the lights will come on, and then once you go for a restart, quite often it'll almost like reset the fuel pump and it'll start operating again. That's going to require a little extra diagnosis in order to find out what's going on.
Right.
They should be able to put a scan tool up to your car and see if there's any codes, but also try to determine if it has any data recorded for when that incident occurred that may help figure out what's going on with it.
Okay, because this is like the third time it's happened, and the first time I brought it in, and they didn't see any codes. Everything was perfect. But it keeps happening. I'm afraid to drive it right now.
Yeah, I can understand, because, I mean, unfortunately, I'm not personally aware of any common issues with Subarus. Let me see if I can Google anything up that might let me know what's going on.
Thank you.
Sorry, we're getting a little bit of weird feedback issues this
Yeah.
morning.
That's all right.
Yeah, have you had the battery replaced recently, by any chance?
No. Original battery.
Now that's something that you may want to look into. Just Googling it here for common issues. Again, first one that pops up really is the faulty fuel pump, and battery issues can also cause that, because if your battery is starting to get weak, what'll happen is it starts trying to get so much power to recharge the battery that the electrical system just kind of gets wonky, and it'll cause it to stall out. So I would have them test that battery as well, especially a 5-year-old battery. If you're here in South Florida, our heat down here is just devastating on batteries.
For sure. Yeah. I'm in Stewart.
Yep. So,
Yeah, Barbara, this is Earl Stewart. One thing also is to be sure that after you've discussed your issue with Schumacher, you're taking it to Schumacher?
Yes, Yeah, I bought it there, so.
Be sure you get an estimate on what it's going to cost you and what they're going to do. Florida law protects you. They can't go more than 10% over the estimate. And if you see some items that they're going to perform that you didn't hear Rick discuss, then question those. You might want before you have them go in, because there'll be a diagnostic charge, and you need to know what that diagnostic charge is. That should be included in your estimate. But if it's going to be more than a couple $100, be sure you go to another store. It could either be a Buick store, or you could go to an independent mechanic and get. You should always get 2 or 3 bids on an expensive repair, unless you have total trust in the dealership.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I appreciate that.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you very much for calling.
Yeah, and remember
Thank
one
you.
thing especially, one thing that I've always, in 30 years of turning wrenches, it seems like the lady customers, the female customers, are more likely to ask questions and ask me to explain how the system works and why they're having that issue. And it seems to, that's one thing that I always have appreciated, because my opinion, an educated customer can make an educated decision. So
Definitely.
feel free to ask questions, because an honest mechanic will be very happy to help explain that to you and help you understand what they're seeing going on in that thing.
And Barb, just to give you some update on, mechanics, they rate pretty high today, and they weren't a while ago. And they're difficult to find, but a good mechanic is something to hold on to. Thank you so much for calling Earl on
Thank
Cars.
you. I
And
appreciate it.
please spread the word that we're trying to build the platform here for the female caller and listener.
I will.
Stay on the line. Thank you.
Okay. Thank
Our number here is 877-960-9960. And we're going to go to Howard, who's patiently been holding. Good morning, Howard. How are you?
Hello?
Hey, Howard.
Yeah, how you doing?
Doing
How's
good.
everything? Beautiful day today.
It is.
Okay, here's the story with my paint job. 040 was not doing the job because it didn't have clear coat. So I brought it in, and Wiggins took care of it, painted. He also detailed the car. The car looks brand new, and the seats were detailed, the dashboard, everything is wonderful. The only thing is, the next day when I drove the car, there were no turn signals. So I went back, and I saw Wiggins, and he said, "I'll take care of it." So the wind-up is that the turn signals were not hooked up. However, everything worked fine, except there's no sound on the turn signals. So I wonder, is it something wasn't hooked up right, or a switch, or what's the story?
Good question. I haven't heard of that issue.
Now that is odd, because if the turn signals are functioning, it's what's known as the flasher unit that normally will make that little ticking noise that tells you your turn signal's operating. And way back, the original versions, that was actually a mechanical thing. So you'd actually hear the mechanical contacts clicking. And then when they made them electronic, they added in a noisemaker, basically, so that you would have an audio thing telling you, hey, these things, your turn signal is still on. As silly as this sounds, I would try the simple solution. Grab a 10 millimeter wrench and just disconnect your negative terminal on the battery. Wait about a minute and then reconnect it. It basically, it's like that old thing with computers of unplug it and plug it back in and try it again. And sometimes just rebooting the system will clear up a lot of those weird problems. I know it sounds like a cop-out, but 5 minutes of that can save you a drive all the way back to the shop and back, and it might just solve the issue for you.
I think that fix works about a third of the time on everything in the world. I mean, I don't care whether it's a toaster, a computer, or a car.
I think it might be a little higher than a third.
Okay, so let's say I do that, and I still don't have audio, and I don't have the sound. How can this be fixed?
My next thought at that point is I would be testing what's known as the body control module. It's actually the computer that has that flasher unit built into it that actually controls the turn signal, turning those lights on and off.
Okay, so I'll try it, and if it doesn't work, I'll bring it back to the. Toyota.
Yeah.
And we left one thing out because it's part of our lives now, Howard. I mean, you know that because you're a regular listener. ChatGPT. Check ChatGPT, and you can ask. I call him Chuck now because he and I are close, and I use him all the time. ChatGPT. I'm serious, and you wouldn't believe
Chuck.
it. Nancy and I we used to be the two of us living together. Now there's the three of us, and Nancy, Earl, and Chuck. ChatGPT. We'll have a conversation, and I'll say I don't know. She says I'll check ChatGPT. So he knows all and sees all.
Definitely knows all.
Okay, well, I was very impressed with your body shop, and
Thank you. Yeah,
and also Travis helped out. You know, Wiggins gave the job to Travis, and he took care of me. I didn't have to wait too much. So I'm giving kudos. Okay.
Thanks very much. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Howard.
it. There's car dealers don't have body shops much anymore. Very few have them, and it's kind of like different than the mainstream service. Therefore, only about one dealership out of 10 has a collision repair center. And thank you very much for the compliment.
Yes, thank you, Howard.
Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. I'm going to mention Earl's letter that is going to hit the stands tomorrow in the Washington Post.
Yeah.
And it's the open letter to Jeff Bezos. And, what better people to line up with? And the word that describes it all is transparency. And that's who we are. And that's who Amazon is. So it's going to be a pretty exciting
Yes,
time.
probably most of you know Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post, and what we're going to try to do is be the first non-Hyundai dealer that will be approved by Amazon. We're approved now by Amazon at our dealership to sell used cars under the Amazon used car program, but the only new car dealerships, the pilot program that Amazon started with, were Hyundai dealers. So they're starting to look around, and they will be adding other dealerships. So we've asked via full-page letter to Jeff Bezos, and tomorrow at Sunday's Washington Post, we're asking Jeff to consider our dealership as the first one. And we think that what Amazon is doing is bringing total clarity, transparency, and honesty to the car buying experience for the first time since it started in over 100 years. And they have a program which we've tested by Mystery Shop. And this is all you can expect, folks. They give you their lowest out-the-door price. Amazon gives you their lowest out-the-door price. But right now they're only doing it on Hyundais. And then you can take that out-the-door price and you can shop it for another out-the-door price. I underline out-the-door because, as you know, especially you regulars, prices quoted now are just nothing because there's thousands of dollars of junk fees and dealer-installed accessories and fine print that you don't know what's happening. But not with Amazon on their new car program. So we salute Jeff Bezos, and we're asking him to please consider us as the first new car dealer. If you're anywhere near a Publix or a Walgreens or a CVS or whoever sells newspapers, of course, any place, we'd love you to pick up a copy tomorrow of the Washington Post. Read our letter to Jeff Bezos, and I think you'll like it. And hopefully, I figured he owns the newspaper. Even if he doesn't read it, somebody will say, "Hey, Jeff, you got an interesting letter from a car dealer, take a look at it, and he'll look at his own newspaper, maybe read it, and maybe we get a call, and we'll let you know next week.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos, if you're listening, give us a call.
Yeah, or right now, yeah, Jeff. Hey, if you're out there, what is our number? Oh, yeah, 877-960-9960. Wouldn't it be funny if Jeff Bezos called us right now?
Anything's possible.
Is he
Anything.
is he the richest man in the world, or is Elon? They go back and forth to the richest man in
a
the
little
world.
shift there. Not much, though.
Yeah.
Okay. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. I offered the ladies $50 this morning for the first time, female callers, and I also added to it a subscription to the Consumer Report that you will find. You know, it just covers everything, and you'll definitely use it a lot. So you can win that this morning also. I've already had one lady caller, and I'm waiting for another at 877-960-9960. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
Rick?
Hey, are you going to be putting that ad on your Facebook page?
Yeah.
I asked that this
Yeah,
morning,
yeah, sure.
Rick.
Cool.
And
Yeah, we're going to put it everywhere we can.
but when?
Yeah.
Did you check this morning?
I didn't check this morning, no.
Okay.
We'll ask Stu when he comes in.
Because if I asked and then Rick asked, everybody's gonna.
Okay. I forgot what I was going to say. There is some good news out there for you folks that are concerned about the tariffs, and the government is trying to mitigate the tariff effect, which is raising the cost of cars, obviously. And of course, the car dealers are waving flags like it's not my fault. Is all these tariffs? That's the reason I have to charge you so much more for the car. Well, there's some truth to it, but not as much truth as it sounds like. Good news is there's a bill in the Congress right now, the U.S. Congress, that is approved to deduct $10,000 of auto loan interest expense when you buy a car. So that's good news. That'll help a little bit there, and bear that in mind when you're financing the car. You'd be surprised what that finance cost is, and you can deduct up to $10,000 if this passes the Senate. It's been approved by the House. I think it'll probably pass the Senate, but that's some good news there. Also, we have an issue right now with all the local. I say local. This is an international show. We have an issue with the Florida regulators. We have issues with all the regulators in the country in terms of enforcing dealership laws. The attorney generals of the state, the chief law enforcement officer of all the states, with a few exceptions. New York is an exception, for example, and to some extent California is an exception. But in Florida, the attorney generals have been what is the word? A pawn for the Florida automobile dealers, a pawn for the car dealers to ignore the laws on the books to protect you, the Florida car buyer. Right now, and I know some of you folks have heard this before, but right now, when they advertise a price, meaning car dealers, when they advertise a new or used car, and you come in the dealership and you try to buy the car, you'll find out that the advertised price, or maybe you called on the phone or emailed, the quoted price is thousands of dollars less than the advertised or quoted price. That's a violation of the law. You think when you break the law, people do something about it. They fine you, they arrest you, they at least reprimand you. Not in Florida, and not when you buy a car. Virtually every car dealership in Florida, and you regulars, pardon me for boring you right now, but I know you've heard this before. I'm talking to our newer listeners, and we have more and more new listeners every week. When you go into virtually every car dealership, I'd say 99% of them, the price that you're trying to pay, that said that was the price of the car, is not the price. You have to pay $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 more. And if you'll stay tuned till the end of the show, that'll be probably around 9:30 when we start the mystery shopping report. You'll hear a mystery shopping report that confirms what we say. Because every week, I can't remember a mystery shopping report where the advertised price was the out-the-door price. It's a violation of Florida statute. The Attorney General has admitted it was a violation of Florida statutes and had reiterated the fines that the dealer should pay, but nothing ever happens. So if you've got any contact at all with we have a phone call, so I was off on one of my favorite rants now. Turn the mic over to Nancy.
Okay, good morning. Good morning, Linda. Welcome. Linda's calling us from Fort Lauderdale.
Good morning.
Welcome.
I love your program. I listen every week, and I never learned how to drive. But all the men in my life are big car people.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Linda, is this the first time you've called?
Yes, it is.
Congratulations, you won yourself $50 as a first-time female caller, and thank you for helping me build the platform here. And you also win a year's subscription to Consumer Report, which you'll find valuable.
Excellent.
And if you stay on the line, you can talk to Mike in the control room. Give him your information. He'll pass that along to me. And
Thank you very much.
I'll get the check out to you. So welcome to the show. And
Love it.
What can we do for you?
Well, just continue providing excellent listening. I enjoy your program so much. It's just, and I can identify with so many people, whether you're talking about Satchel Paige and the old timers.
Oh, yeah.
Everything has a meaning for me.
How about Shoeless Joe Jackson?
That's great. That's really great.
Yeah.
And I'm just so happy that you said, you just learned so much from the
Oh,
show.
I do. Love it.
As
Love
other
it.
women do, and they find it very interesting. Interesting
Very.
because it would it's going to really take them a long way whenever they go to purchase a vehicle, rent, lease, used cars, service, and we try to get out all of the information to all of our listeners,
Well,
men
let me
and
ask you a
women.
question. The fact that you don't drive is interesting because Nancy and I are both driving autonomous cars, fully autonomous
I
cars.
know.
Have you ever thought about right now the autonomous car is not the level 4, which you can buy and use. It's a level 3. Somebody could correct me out there if I got my numbers wrong, but we both drive different model Teslas. And for example, this morning, we live in Jupiter Inlet Colony, Florida, and the radio station we're at now in the studio is in North Palm Beach. It's about 12, 14 miles. So Nancy and I got out and walked into our garage, got in the car. We drove our Tesla Cybertruck, and I pushed the button for the address for the radio studio, and the car took us right to the radio studio, parked itself, and we got out. I think shortly you'll be able to buy a car that will have that ability. As a person who doesn't drive, would you ever consider that?
Well, I always get curb service with a smile, and I have relied on that. And when I was living in New York City, I could always walk to work.
Sure.
And no, I've just never had a need to. And I could always, living here in Fort Lauderdale, I've always been able to walk to the Publix. And, no, I like to keep my life very simple. And, no, I don't really have any desire to drive. I enjoyed your story about Jeff Bezos my brother had a Camry years ago. I loved that story about him going in to pay for his mom's Camry. I enjoy everything I hear on your program. It's just
Well, thank you.
So it's my Saturday morning pleasure.
Well,
Oh, great.
I don't even know you, but I like you already. You're my kind of gal. I mean,
Well-
you're happy, you're comfortable with your position. You
very.
like to walk a lot, which means you're very
Yeah.
healthy. So,
Oh, yep. 8 vitamins a day. That's,
And Linda,
That's it.
thanks again for calling, and we hope
Thank
we keep
you.
you centered and
Yes.
informed.
May I just say that I probably never wanted to learn how to drive because I was in an automobile accident with my grandparents in Dallas when I was 7 years old.
oh,
And
Wow.
I think that has had a slight. My brother, of course, got his Mustang the day he turned 16.
of course.
Yeah.
But no,
Interesting.
I'm very happy being a non-driver.
Good for you. Good for
Keeping
you.
your circle small.
Yes.
Well,
But
Linda-
I have pictures in Clark Gable's Duesenberg, and I have some wonderful pictures of NASCAR with NASCAR drivers and all that. And my husband's nephew is a NASCAR driver, so I'm very interested in the automobile world.
Well, you know the
Just not
expression,
my-
that's a doozy, came from.
Yeah.
Yes.
And our neighbor in New York had a Duesenberg, and he was Santa Claus at Christmas and would, throw out little toys. But I'm interested in automobiles, but just not for my personal use.
I understand.
Well,
Well,
that's
great.
even better. Linda, we can't thank you enough for calling,
Thank
and
you.
hope to hear from you again. And get
Oh,
that
you will.
information to Michael in the control
Thank you.
room. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Have a great weekend. We're going to go to our favorite person, and that is the Roadrunner.
Me.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, everybody. How are you?
We're
Great.
wonderful.
All right, I was up at Nissan getting an oil change, and I like looking at the cars.
Uh-huh.
So I'm looking at the Moroni list. I wrote down these crazy things. Cabin sanitation service, okay? Door edge and cup guard service.
Oh, boy.
Customer mobile app, rain repellent, and here's one I don't get. Interior antimicrobic service, whatever that is. What do they do? Take a can of Lysol and spray the inside of the car?
Yep. And it's not even Lysol; it's a generic knockoff.
And this court, there was other ones, but I picked out these. $2,995 for this service.
Yep.
Yeah, they're getting desperate, Steve. And Nissan is on the verge of bankruptcy. Their CEO is gone. They got a new guy jumped in, and they're trying to save Nissan. They're sinking fast. The dealers don't like them. Their customers don't like them. And when you got that kind of a combination, you're in trouble.
Yeah, well, they kept the one on 441. The one I go to is under a different name.
Yeah, I think that's owned by. Who's the guy that owns all the private stores?
I told
Terry
you the
Taylor?
name last
Terry
time.
Taylor, yeah.
Yeah, with that. But I don't get this. How could you charge $3,000 for stupid stuff?
Well, they have immunity. Supposing there was a law about robbing banks, but you could rob a bank and they wouldn't arrest you. The banks would be in a lot of trouble, wouldn't they? And that's what we have. They have laws against all the things that you just described, but they don't enforce the law. So people, the dealers, continue to take advantage of their customers. It's almost laughable if it weren't so tragic and tragically true.
Yes. With that, it reminds me of Ed Norton when he said, "Don't call me a sewer worker. I'm a subterranean engineer."
I love that show, The Honeymooners. That was really
Okay.
something. And the
All
way-
right, everybody have a good, safe holiday, and thank you to all our veterans out there.
Thank you. Thank you
Take
so
care,
much,
Steve.
Steve. Have a
We love
wonderful
you.
weekend.
You too.
Happy Memorial Day. Okay, I think we're going to go to Anne Marie's text
Oh, good.
and a few other things. You guys ready?
I am. This is a little bit long, but we're going to read it right out. She says, "Good morning. The National Insurance Institute for Highway Safety is an independent research organization that crashes cars to study crash protection and crash avoidance. It's been issuing crash test ratings since 1995. No testing program is perfect because of all the variables, but one institution has taken testing a step further. Advanced Vehicle Engineering of Cranfield University staged a real-world, high-speed multi-car pileup in Scotland to study what happens without risking anyone's life in order to better design cars that can get you from point A to point B safely. PBS's science show Nova recorded and just aired this ultimate crash test. You can find it streaming on pbs.org, on YouTube, and also on jalopnik.com. It's compelling and thought-provoking. Please watch it if you can. Putting seatbelts in cars started the movement for safer cars." She asked first, "What current feature do you feel is the best at making vehicles safer? And what safety feature would you like to see on all cars in the future? It's Memorial Day weekend. Millions of us will take to the road. Please drive carefully. Thank you, signed Mother Hen." So what about it, Earl? What current feature do you think is the best at making the cars feel safer? And what would you like to see on all the cars in the future?
Well, for one single feature, I would go with the airbags, and I think the seat belts are a close second. In fact, I might have them reversed. But those two, primitive by today's standards, are, I think, the most important in terms of keeping people from being hurt.
Myself, I would go with the idea because every car now has seat belts and airbags. It's standard, and some cars have got like 20 different airbags. I think the blind spot monitor system and what it's growing into with having cameras to watch around your car.
Here's the problem. I was going to say something like that, but you're talking about the accidents that didn't happen. And so how do you really know how many accidents didn't happen? I think there were a lot that didn't happen, and that might make it number one. But in terms of reality, where I can look you in the eye, I've had a body shop. In fact, at one time I had 5 body shops, and I've seen a lot of cars where there were deaths, injuries, and I've seen cars where there are 0 deaths. I've seen cars where the car was in a basket and the people survived. So I've seen a lot of very, very terrible accidents where people didn't have a scratch because of airbags and seatbelts. So therefore, that gets my number one vote. But I don't disagree with you. I think here it'd be an interesting question. Would you, for safety purposes, would you rather your children or your loved ones drove in a car like a fully autonomous that was top of the level 4? Which had 8 cameras, which stopped the car, started the car, swerved the car, did everything. Can hear emergency sirens to pull the car over. In other words, and also be part of a system where it talks to all the other cars. In other words, the ultimate fully autonomous car will probably be totally safe. It'll be all electronics. You won't need seat belts, and you won't need airbags. They might even take them out of the cars.
I honestly, I am waiting for the day when traveling on our roads becomes that safe, simply for the factor that we're taking out the distracted human part of it. Even this morning, I'm driving up the turnpike to come here to the show, and this guy in another car, he's just kind of moving around a little bit. He's speeding up, slowing down. I get next to him, I glance over, and he's got one hand on the wheel and his cell phone right up in front of him.
Yeah.
And it just, to me, it's, I'm begging for autonomous cars across the board.
You know, on my autonomous car and Nancy's autonomous car, if we do that, and I won't say that we haven't been a little careless behind the wheel, we will get what they call a strike.
Yep.
And they used to only give you 3 strikes. Now they give you 5 strikes. And if you get 5 strikes, they disable the car. No more autonomous driving. So
Yeah.
even in a fully autonomous car, they want you to be fully aware.
Yeah.
Because you're right.
Yeah.
We see it all the time. A guy drives by
Well,
with a...
it's still in its infancy. I mean, the autonomous car is
More people that
Totally
are
an
driving
infant.
the autonomous car have to be
Yep.
more aware. They have to be focused. Don't let your guard down because you're driving autonomous. Take it from someone who has experienced it yesterday, today, and tomorrow. They're fine-tuning that feature. For me, whenever we talk about safety features, I love the lane change. I just really, that lane keeping assist.
Yep.
The cameras, rear view cameras, and of course the seatbelt. So the list is pretty long as far
Well-
as safety features are concerned.
folks, for everybody out there, please be safe this weekend. Put the cell phone down while you're driving.
Yeah, take a
And-
break.
Keep your seatbelts on. Keep your car in good condition. Make sure your tires are aired up. Make sure your wipers are in good shape. I mean, we just saw a thunderstorm come through last night at my house. We had hail again in Lakeward, Florida. So hey, folks, it's make sure your car's in good shape and be safe this weekend.
Keep your eyes on the road. And we are going to go back to the phones, and we're going to talk to Jake, who's been holding. Good morning, Jake. Welcome. Welcome to the show. Sorry for the hold. What can we do for you?
Hey, Jake, you out there?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I was daydreaming.
I do that a
Oh,
lot.
how nice.
Yes. Hi. Good morning. I'm
What
sorry.
can we do for you, Jake?
I was looking up new insurance because I just got my bill.
Oh,
and
boy.
it went up so much. I
Yeah.
can't believe they want over $6,000 for the 2 cars.
Isn't it something? Wow.
It's unreal. So I was just shopping. So I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's great.
So-
That's great to shop. That's a great approach.
So my 2019 BMW 330i, it just flipped over 25,000 miles, but I bought it. It's over 6 years old already. Do I really need to replace the rotors too when I do the brakes? Because it doesn't feel as tight as it should. Plus, it's over 6 years already, so it's probably time.
The first thing I would do is take your car out for a drive on the highway. Make sure you got a good clear road, nobody around you. Get up to around 65, 70 if you can, and then step on the brake, not full panic mode, but give it a good firm step on the brake. And if you don't feel any major vibrations in the steering wheel or the seat of the car, if it feels pretty smooth when you give it that relatively hard braking, then most likely the rotors are relatively straight and true. And as long as they're not rusted or anything, and as long as they are not what's known as a drilled rotor, the ones that have the little holes in them like race car looking things, then they should be perfectly safe to be resurfaced. The mechanic or the shop doing the brake job for you should measure those rotors in a couple of spots and compare it to the book for the thickness of it. And if it's still got plenty of metal left on it, there's no reason they can't resurface that rotor so it can be reused. And on a BMW, just going out on a limb, I would bet that quality rotors for that car are probably $300 each or more.
Wow.
So resurfacing them is a much, much better option. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with safely resurfacing a rotor as long as it does not go below the minimum spec, the minimum thickness that is recommended for that car.
Okay. And I was thinking of sticking with BMW original pads.
That's always a good idea because to me the factory pads, they're designed a little better and they're usually more specifically designed for that car to help cut down on noises and vibration. And nobody likes that idea of you get a brake job done and you're driving along somewhere and you just lightly apply the brakes and you hear that annoying squeak and squeal. Kind of embarrassing. But a good mechanic will understand basically what they need to do in order to make sure that that's not going to occur. And it comes down to simply doing a quality brake job. So I would find a good independent shop, somebody that's got good reviews, that has had recommendations, and does the quality work at a reasonable price.
ASE certified,
and I think
right?
an ASE certified. I mean, almost every shop now is ASE certified, but it's always good to ask for that. What I would do is I would go online and look around for local forum groups for BMWs and for people that are local here in your area, and then ask them who they recommend as mechanic. Who do they go to? Because a lot of the forum groups, these are guys that they know these cars inside and out, and if they have a mechanic they trust, you know you're getting a good name.
Definitely, Jake.
Wow.
Boy, what great
Yes,
information
thank you.
Rick just
That's a
gave
great
you.
idea.
Because
Thank you.
these the mechanics are tough to find. Have you, Jake, ever had
Yes.
to go to a mechanic?
Years ago in New York, in Manhattan, when I used to have to change the brakes twice, the drum brakes twice a year, and the way they used to drain the liquids into the subway grates.
Yeah,
And that was back in the 70s.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I remember those
Yeah.
days. Well,
I'll find someone.
the good news is a mechanic today has really high ratings all the way around from the consumer, and they come up on top as far as honesty, where they never did before. So you're going to be very successful in finding a good mechanic and hanging on to that mechanic.
Yes, thank you guys. Always great listening to you and speaking to you guys.
Thank you, Jake. Have a great weekend. We're going to go to John in Palm City. Good morning, John.
Good morning. I just want to mention a question for Rick. Some of the Costco's, they have a sign posted, and it says, attention, 15% off on your next visit to mechanical work, or a total of $500 a visit. Call this number, 877-427-5565. What does Rick know about that program that Costco has to get a reduction in your mechanical work done on your car?
absolutely nothing. Although that would seem like a very reasonable offer that they're doing, if somebody's looking to get repeat customers. I totally see that as a reasonable thing, that if you have a customer that they're coming back to you and you offer them, basically it's a loyalty rebate. You're giving them a discount because they're a returning customer.
What's that number again, John?
Okay, at 877-427-5565. I called that number on Thursday, and what they do, you have to give your Costco number, and she gives you an email identifying who you are, and you have 3 weeks to use their email, and they mention by your zip code 2 repair places. One is here in Stewart, and another one is Port St. Lucie, that this is valid, this coupon, with 15% off or $500 per visit. So that's all that I know about it. This sign has been posted in a new Costco that opened up in Martin County, and I never heard of the program before. But nothing surprises me at Costco because they're selling everything now, including car insurance, and you can even buy gold bars at Costco now.
Isn't it amazing?
I trust everything Costco does. They're not perfect, and I've had problems. You have problems with any store, but they're by far and large the best. We'll check that number out and see what it is. But if Costco's got its name on it, then they're backing it, which would be a good thing.
It's also a website, CostcoAuto.com-PS, and that's all that I was able to notify on it. And the coupon is good for 3 weeks, and I'm sure it's available in all other Costco's. So leave it to Costco. Nancy even mentions 2 people that we should be attentive to is Consumer Reports and Costco Wholesale Out.
Yeah,
That's a great place to start, that's for
Nancy and I
sure.
were at Costco yesterday, and I needed some socks, and The only problem with Costco now is I have enough socks to last me 112 years. But I couldn't buy a pair of socks. I had to buy about 600.
Yeah,
I'm
didn't the
exaggerating
U-Haul
slightly,
deliver
but
those?
Did you get your hot dog?
No.
Why didn't I get the hot dog?
The good news is this
I always get the
Costco in
hot dog.
Mon County now took some pressure off the one that you go to on North Lake Boulevard,
Yeah.
and maybe you'll find the parking spaces now.
Yeah.
The other 1,000 pair of socks that Earl ordered, they'll be coming in, I believe, a month, correct?
Yeah, so anybody that needs
So
some socks,
anybody
I got-
needs any
drop by the house. I got socks. Free socks.
What does it come to? We're selling socks.
That'll knock your socks off.
You're
All
a
right, guys, I'm looking forward to the report. I'm shopping.
Oh,
Thanks,
great. It's our mystery shop is from Bremen BMW in Jupiter, so you want to stick around for that. And you can also vote on that mystery shop by texting us at 772-497-6530. We're going to go over to John in West Palm Beach. Good morning, John.
You talking from West Palm Beach, you're talking to, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, very good. First of all, Costco only sells tires and batteries, correct? I don't think they do automotive service.
No, I think they do. Rick, what?
I don't know if they do the actual automotive service right there at their location. I know they'll do tires and batteries at that location.
If they have a gas station,
But
don't they have expanded the gas station kind of services?
No, the gas station's just gas.
Just
I
gas?
know that.
Yeah.
Because I make use of it often. But I'm suspecting that this may be similar to their Costco auto buying program and some of the other things that you'll see, as you're going out.
That's what it is.
And it's vendors, and basically they're simply working a program with these local auto shops, a couple of shops, so that you get a discounted rate with someone that obviously is vetted by Costco.
If you're a certified
Correct.
Costco dealer, that's what it is. That's what it
Because
is.
it sounds very misleading. So, anyways, on from that subject, the one technology for safety as far as in cars that I would like to see that I enjoy having it, not that I ever have to use it, but the early warning system on my car. If the cameras see something that's going to be a danger, if I was going to hit it, it automatically puts on the brakes, and it doesn't allow me to hit it. But it's only up to a certain speed that the car stops. So if I'm doing 50, I'm going to hit a tree. It's not going to stop in time. I don't believe, and I'm not willing
I've
to try
never
it out.
tested it, yeah.
But like going 10, 15 miles an hour, if you're backing up in your driveway and you're about to hit something, the car stops, and it throws on the brakes for you. I would like to see that technology be increased to much higher speeds. For instance, going 45. If you're going to be hit, or if you're going to hit something, and the cameras see it where you don't, because like you said, someone's looking at their phone.
Yeah.
You know,
most now with the advanced, like the laser adaptive cruise controls, it will do it at high speeds. At least I know in Toyotas, Hondas, Nissans, things like that. If you're going along, it's similar to what Earl and Nancy's Teslas will do. You're going along at 45 miles an hour and traffic comes to a complete stop in front of you. Your car will come to a complete stop. And then you just hit resume when the traffic moves again. You have to manually say, okay, it's time to go again, and on its own, it'll accelerate back up. The Teslas with the autopilot, it does it on its own, but it's a step in that direction.
Yep.
correct. I don't use it.
As a matter of fact, we actually had a recall on a certain number of cars through Toyota because the radar sensor was actually a little too sensitive in it, and the aiming was a little off. And if you were driving your car and going down a slight slope and you had some sort of metal in the roadway, like a bridge or a cattle guard, something like that, they actually had cars that were slamming on the brakes for no reason. And the car would literally stop in the road because it detected what it believed was a metal object in the road that was actually the road surface. So that we had a recall where we had to replace the radar sensors on a lot of cars for that.
Okay. On my Tesla, the same thing goes true on my trip to Michigan every year.
when, and I think I mentioned this to you before on the radio, that when in cruise control, if the car senses that the road material changes, like from cement to asphalt, it recognizes something different, and it will slow the car down. You know, the ghost braking. And I've experienced that with the difference in, the road surface.
That's not surprising to me at all. I mean, the technology of these new sensors and camera systems is so advanced that it detects a change in the road surface, and it's going to adjust the vehicle speed for safety's sake.
One of the advantages to the Tesla autonomous system is that it's designed with literally hundreds of millions of videos of Tesla drivers all over the world. And every Tesla that's sold that's autonomous feeds that information back, whether it's in China or the United States or India, and hundreds of millions of videos. And these are integrated into the software of the car you're driving. So you get a software update, the Tesla, about once a week. And that means that the sum total of the video information of actual drivers under actual driving conditions is being tweaked. And it's far more efficient and faster and accurate than what the other software designers have done. They're actually inputting code. You know, envision thousands of people, coders they call them, doing code language to tweak and change the way an autonomous car drives versus the actual video of a real driver in real driving conditions. So, 5 years from now or less, imagine the amount of data that has been integrated into the Tesla Autonomous by real humans doing real driving under real conditions.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Well, I heard a rumor that Tesla owners who allow all that information to be collected from the computers were going to receive some sort of stipend or a small little paycheck for all the information that they grabbed from us. Have you heard anything like that?
Have it been paid?
Yeah, that you were going to get some sort of royalty or dividend from
Well, that'd
from
be
sending
nice.
information.
I haven't heard that, but I'll
take
ask.
it.
I'll ask.
All right.
And then one last thing. Hey, when can we see the BZ5 here in America?
The which one?
The Toyota BZ5.
The one that is following the BZ4X. We don't know. They said in 26 and 27 we're going to get new electric models, and I know the BZ4X is coming back as just a BZ. They're
We've
dropping
got
the
3 of
4X.
them now. They just announced the third one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember the names though. But over the next couple of years, but it's Toyota's still just kind of dominating with hybrids. Yeah, they're just everything's becoming hybrid.
Great. Thank you. Have a great week.
Okay, you too.
Thank you. We're going to go to Bobby. Good morning, Bobby. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for continuing to put the information out. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to tell you about some shady service in a minute. But while you were talking about Costco, I wanted to bring to your attention BJ's Tires has started to put alignment machines in their tire centers. They have one down in Boynton, and they're putting one in on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, that new store they have on Palm Beach Lakes. $69.95 for a 4-wheel alignment. That's a good deal.
Yeah, it is.
Not if you could get a free one.
That is true.
Yeah. So,
right, if you get a free one. But no, I haven't gotten a free one in a long time.
It's the reason they're doing that, and it's very profitable and lucrative. But in a honest way, so many cars are out of alignment, and the owners don't realize it. And so any service that we did, we put an alignment of it's a really sophisticated, automatically checks it, and it's really surprising.
Yeah, our dealership has free alignments, and it's a
checks.
Free check.
Yes, free alignment check. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said check.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
alignment.
They do the $69.
If you have a free alignment check, then you're not going to have too many alignments because you'll be right on top of it.
That's
So
great,
here's
though.
my
That's pretty
shady service story. I have a nephew who's a mechanical engineer, and he builds race cars, so he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He took his truck to Mullinex Ford to get an oil change because his back was hurting. So they changed the oil, but they came back in and said, we're sorry to tell you, you need new brakes, all 4 tires. And he said, no, I don't think I'm going to do it. And he knew he didn't need brakes. And they continued to say, this is really dangerous. We don't think you should leave. You need new brakes. So he said, no, but thank you. Went home, measured his brakes. They were 6 millimeters, there's plenty of meat left on the brake pads. And so when the surveyor called, he gave them all 1s. And so the next day after that, the service writer called him back and said, why'd you give me all 1s? And he said, because you lied to me. And the guy insisted that he didn't lie, but
Maybe
he told him,
maybe
you know,
the tech
I got 6 millimeters. What do you want me to say? And he said, well, that wasn't me lying. That was the tech lying. And
Yeah, you are, and the tech are the collective you.
right, exactly. And so, and then he went on to say, you know, my pay gets affected when you give me all 1s, so I want you to change it. I mean, he carried on for a while.
Please tell me you told him you're angry at the wrong man. You get mad at the
well,
tech who lied. He's the one who created the situation.
But they said while he was there, you know, this is a critical problem you need to fix now. Sort of putting the pressure on, and I'm sure they do it to a lot of people. But oddly enough, he took his BMW to get the oil changed. A few weeks later, same story at Bremen.
Yeah,
So
it's a
brakes
commission.
are the new
Yeah.
cheating tool.
Yeah, well, it's commission. You know, if you really want to assign blame, assign it to the dealer. When you put people out there to talk to your customers, and you pay them a percentage of every nickel they can get from a customer, whether it's honest or dishonest, it's the commission plan. The more you can talk a customer into having done, whether it's needed work or not, the more money you make. So it attracts people.
Right. If you have weak management or apathetic management or immoral management, they can really take advantage of that whole commission model. Because
Right.
if
I
you're
was a
paying
little
commission,
surprised at Mullinex, given your experience
too.
buying cars there.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this: you were talking about commission for the service writers. What about the technicians? Are they getting paid different amounts? Are the technicians that change the oil getting paid different amounts than the technicians that do the brakes? And if they get
Oil
somebody
change.
to buy brakes, are they getting more money?
oil change techs like that are doing the rotations and the tire changes and oil changes, they're getting paid hourly generally. When the car goes into the shop for
Well, there
repair,
can be bonuses.
they can be let me just go back. There is usually bonuses for things like that, but then in the shop there's something called flat rate, and the job pays a certain dollars per hour to the tech, and the tech can do it quicker than what the book calls for.
Yeah,
they get the higher amount.
the
Yeah.
answer is yes,
Yeah.
but they do what the service salesman, the service advisor, the service advisor recommends what the tech says. But the tech can say to the service advisor, and sometimes to the customer, he needs this, this, and this. So everybody's on commission. The sales writer, the service advisor, they're on commission clearly, and so is the technician. So
Right.
if you put a dishonest person in front of a lucrative pay plan, he works the pay plan, and to hell with the customer. That's the problem we have.
Well, I was surprised to hear that the mechanic is also incentivized to
Yeah, he is.
create service. The biggest problem with all this is, though, when you really do need brakes, you're not going to believe them,
That's right.
and then you're gonna have trouble.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Here's an inside joke about us car dealers. We have different departments, obviously service and parts and new car sales and used car sales. Now, there's always a big argument between the used car sales manager and the service manager, because the service manager, when he's fixing a used car, which is a company, is owned by the dealership, but until you sell it, they screw the service department and they charge too much, or at least the used car manager says they take advantage of it. So what a lot of car dealers do, and I did this, was I have the used car mechanic that worked in my service department who does the used car work. I had him on salary.
Oh.
And then now
Yeah.
the used car
Oh, right.
manager, yeah. So,
That's right. You know to put him on salary, but for us,
yeah,
we
and-
didn't know he was getting a commission.
and
So,
I
Rick,
should have all my mechanics on salary, and I should have I do have my new car salesman and used car salesman on salary. They don't get a percentage of the price of the car or the profit. They get incentivized by selling more cars or less cars. But I haven't done that in the service department, either for the service advisors or the mechanics. But I should do it, and I haven't done it. Shame on me.
Well,
So,
you
Rick-
did you
so,
did
Rick,
job
the-
pricing. You brought him job pricing, which was basically kind of like that. It couldn't be manipulated with the hours. It was just this is what this paid.
Yeah.
And it was kind of just a flat commission.
I'd forget about that.
So Rick, what do you do when they come in and say you need new brakes? And I mean, do you just make them take you out there and measure them?
You become the man from Missouri.
Show me. Yep.
Yeah.
We show people, and also we have a system that has communicates from the technician to the customer with text and a camera on the tablet, so it shows the actual what's going on. If you need a problem,
But be prepared for this. I'm sorry, Mr. Jones. We can't take you back into the service department because our insurance
Insurance
company
doesn't let you.
won't allow it.
Yes.
Yeah. So that, and then, you're right. Our insurance company doesn't like us to have
They don't like it.
customers into the service department, but we do it anyway. So
Well,
it just
it's our
but
choice.
How can you tell a guy, I'm not going to show you your brakes that I just said you got to spend $1,000 on? I refuse to show them to you because my insurance company won't let you back there. I just think that's so silly. We just violate the insurance rule and take the customer back.
Yeah, the rule of thumb at our shop is we request customers not to come in the shop on their own, but if you want to come and see your car, the service writer will be more than happy to walk you back to your car, and any honest mechanic will be more than happy to show you the work that he's recommending on your car
You mean just
and explain it to you.
Only our honest mechanics, right?
Well, yeah, honest mechanics. But I would say in our shop, 95% of our mechanics are honest to a fault. There are a couple that may be through ignorance or inexperience, may not be as able to describe things properly, and it may come off wrong. But the older mechanics, we are always ready to step in and help those younger guys out too, and help explain the issue. And my honest opinion that I give to everyone is I would rather have an educated customer. I want that customer to come back and ask me, I don't understand why you're recommending this. Please explain it to me. Because if you are educated about what I'm recommending and you feel comfortable spending that money with me this day, then you're going to go out and you're going to tell 5 other people that they can trust me. And my business is going to grow. My work is going to grow. But if I tell you something falsely, dishonest, you're going to go tell 100 other people, and my business isn't going to grow. So, in my opinion, I will always give you an honest opinion. I will always tell you the truth as I see it, and I will explain the system to you and explain everything of what I'm doing and why. And if I don't think you need brakes, if I look at them and I say, okay, these brakes are getting close, and you come back to see it, I'll say, all right, now these are at 4 to 5 millimeter. You're good for a certain distance yet. You don't need them today. If you want to do them today, we can do it. But you do have some time so that you don't have to.
Yeah, and if it's any consolation, Bobby, the Gallup poll has definitely shown that honesty and ethics has certainly, the ratings for these technicians has certainly grown. It's just an amazing time, and they're not a unicorn any longer. You can find a good, honest technician. And by the way, Earl, do you recall this morning you and I were talking about just this? And the news bulletin was service and parts tips. Pay your technicians more than your advisors. And then they go on to talk about a toxic atmosphere that this has grown into. And
salespeople can make an obscene amount of money. A really good salesman, I'm talking car salesman now, but for example, but it's not unusual at a successful dealership for a new car salesman to make $250,000 a year. Now the skills are there, but it's a selling skill, and how much honesty goes into all that when you understand that he's getting 25% of all the money you pay, profit you pay the dealer for the car. So if you pay the dealer $1,000 profit, that sale on that one transaction, that salesperson can make $250. But if he can make a $10,000 profit, which is not uncommon, he'll make $2,500. And a good salesman, I mean a really good salesman, can sell 30 cars a month or more. So we what is the word? We crown, we worship great salespeople.
We anoint them. As with
and if
celebrate them.
If you got a salesman making $300,000 or $400,000 a year in a car dealership, he can get away with anything he wants. The owner loves him. The managers love him. Everybody loves him.
He's fireproof.
Well, my new response for service is going to be, let's go take a look and have them take it out there. And one last thing, I will say, Rick has worked on my car a few times, and invariably he goes above and beyond and does even a better job than I think he was going to do. So
thank you, Bobby.
There's that.
Thank you much.
Thanks, Bobby.
Sure.
Thank you, Bobby. Give us a call again. We're going to go to Andy in Fort Lauderdale. Good morning, Andy.
Yes, I called in August. I was buying a SL55. I don't know if you remember me. And I got it from Alabama. So when it came here, everything was good. And then all of a sudden, the back window, the electric window, wouldn't go up. So I went to a European dealer that fixes Euro cars, they said. Okay, so I go in there, and I'm in there like an hour. He comes out, and he says it needs a regulator. So I said, okay, how much is it? $2,500 plus tax. You hear this? Is that the right price for a Mercedes regulator?
For a factory part?
Is that for the roof thing? Is he talking about?
No, it's the window regulator.
Oh, just for the
which with Mercedes probably has the motor built onto it. Unfortunately for a Mercedes, that does not sound that outrageous really to me.
Is that like a retail price? What about a used part or something like that?
Probably retail price, yeah. Did that include the labor?
Okay. That's with everything. So then I said, what are you, out of your mind? You know, I didn't go shopping in a while with cars. They don't break. I don't drive a lot. Mm-hmm. So, okay. So I said, this is a little high. So he goes in the back. He says, maybe we'll save you by the hour. He said it takes 5 hours. So he came back out. He said, okay, we'll do it for $2,000 plus tax. So I said, give me the car back. I got to go around. Okay. He brings the car back. I go in the car. This car has paddles on it. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah, the shifters on the steering wheel.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I pull away. The downshifter falls in my lap.
Oh, God.
You believe this? And I said, what? He's making believe that the car's old and it fell out. I could see it was cracked out. Could I sue him or what should I do? Because the guy's making believe like it just happened. There's no way in the world that could happen. I had the car 9 months.
I mean,
What do you think,
I never touched that thing. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to sound like my lawyer, Uncle Gary.
Should I sue this guy? I'll give you the name of the company. You want to hear it?
Sure.
USP.
UAP?
USP, Euromotive. USP.
Never heard of them.
You never heard of them?
No.
They said they've been for 25 years. He's in Coral Springs.
You can sue anybody. I mean, but
You probably have a
what do you
hard time
think?
finding a lawyer
will
that would
take
take it.
Yeah.
The lawyers work on contingency, and
Yeah, I know that. Right. Yeah.
But your best
and
bet
there's no
would
law
be
against overcharging people.
right. You can do a small claims
Okay.
court claim without a lawyer, and that could do something. I don't remember what the dollar amount that you got to be under to do that, but and that can be effective. I mean, we've been
No,
sued.
the guy tried to put it back in. If he didn't break it, why did he try to put it back
The
in?
difficulty, I'm being, just thinking as a lawyer would, it'd be kind of hard to prove it, but that's, it's not a jury. You're going to be in front of an arbitrator, and you're going to make your case, and whoever convinces the guy will win. So it might be
But
worth it. You don't have to
could
spend any
see
money.
it. You could see it was broken, and I looked in it to see if there was ever glued in. Like, then I wouldn't care.
Well, I'll play the devil. I'll be the other guy. How do you know it wasn't broken? We don't. How do we know it wasn't broken when you got here? I mean,
Well, listen, no, you could.
I believe
could
you.
see-
I mean, they broke it clearly. I'm just saying that it's going to be a tough one. I think.
Yeah, we believe you. It's a he said, she said.
You wouldn't be calling if you broke it. Calling us
Yeah.
and sounding so
No,
exasperated.
I know what you're saying, but the guy I got. Then look, I know that. Here's what happened. The next day, I called it, and they blocked me. Then I called again in the afternoon. Then I had my nephew call, and they picked up the phone. So what do you think about that? And then he's telling me, and I left him a message. He said he never got no messages. You understand? Like it's.
They're trying to blow you off, and they just want to forget about you. So
Let's
you might
see.
surprise them with small claims. Small
But
claims.
see, how much would it cost to fix it? He says the thing still might work if he glues it in there. Could that be possible?
Maybe.
It's possible. I would make sure that you're going to get someone to do a real quality job with that, simply because just a little bit of super glue, odds are it's just going to break again the moment you go to use it.
But I never use it. I'm an old guy here, and I don't need no paddles. I wanted the car because there's only 500 in the United States.
Well, the car should still drive even without that little paddle switch. So
Yeah, but it doesn't look good.
it drives, but I could see it was broken because, like,
If
there's
it's a
black
clean
piece.
break, if it's a really clean break, I bet you some super glue or Gorilla Glue. And if you're not using it, it would hold it up there. I bet.
Oh, okay.
actually, if it were me, because I'm a fan of overkill, I would actually take and drill little holes in the broken spots and put like pieces of like paper clip to make like a brace in between it, and then use either a 2-part epoxy or Gorilla Glue type stuff to glue that back
Do you
together.
have a dental drill set? That's
I
a joke. Sorry.
No, I'll get it in, but you think 2,500 is fair for that?
I looked it up. I think that's insane. Rick knows more than me
Well,
because he
It's
does these
outrageous,
things.
but it's just.
Does that include labor?
ChatGPT
that
says
was
the
with
part
labor,
is.
yeah.
Okay,
He's
well-
telling me 5 hours to put that in, and he didn't touch the window. It was the same way I left it. So how did he know it's the regulator? Because the motor works, but it's not hooking on. Like, so how does he know it's that part if he didn't open it up? You understand?
Well, I know from experience with me, we had one set of Camrys, the 92 to 95 body style Camrys.
I remember those.
That
bulbous.
Yeah, the window regulator actually had pulleys and metal cables, and so when it acted up, you could hear the motor trying to run back and forth.
Oh, yeah, I hear
But
that, right.
the window wouldn't move because the cables would get all destroyed inside. And it, just through experience, the sound of it, I could tell within seconds, yes, this is what it needs. Now, granted, the window regulator replacing that back then was running about $350 maximum.
That's what ChatGPT says this regulator should cost.
Well, it may be. I'm not very familiar with the Mercedes setup. I just know German cars are generally more expensive for the parts than that.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm lucky actually because I got the car very cheap, very real, and someone offered me $10,000 more than I paid for it. So I don't know, should I sell it? But it's such a good car, and I know it's not going to go.
Yeah.
It's got 510 horsepower.
Yeah.
And you know, my first car was a Bonneville '66 with tri-power, a 421 HO. My father.
Two-barrel carbs. Yeah.
Well, that's
That
fantastic.
was. I wish I saved it. It would be worth a fortune. You know what I mean? It was a special model, and I used to beat GTOs because it had no insignias. You know, it didn't say. It was just put in there.
You remember the
It
Pontiac
cost
fuel
extra money.
injection, 1957, the Pontiac fuel injection.
Yeah.
I think it was Bonneville.
Yeah. Greatest
this
cars.
one was a Bonneville, a two-door hardtop, barrier blue with a white vinyl top, white leather and
Yeah.
I ordered it. My father paid for it. That was my first
And
car.
interesting conversation, Andy, for sure.
Okay,
I
I'll
want to.
let you go.
Yeah, I want to
know,
thank
okay.
you. Good luck
Yeah.
Andy.
with
Okay,
the
good
price
luck.
on the rotors.
See, I'm
and
from Brooklyn. He's lucky. If I was younger, I would break his place. I would bust all of his windows.
There.
Okay, I'm just kidding.
There you go.
I would get even with him. Okay.
I like
but
your
I'm
style.
too old to do that. Okay, thank you.
You can always hire somebody. Let's go to let's go to Bob in Lake Park. Morning, Bob.
Yes,
Hello,
good
Bob.
morning. Happy Memorial. Happy
Thank
Memorial
you.
Weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
So,
Yes.
I have a question for you. You know, they say that the best time to buy a new car is at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Does that carry forward for the used car department of the dealership, or is that just for the new cars?
Yeah, it does carry forward to the used car. Not as much, because it's not factory incentives that they're chasing. There's
Right,
some
right.
weird status to the month end that's granted, and some of it is legit if they're trying to scramble for these last minute incentives. But everybody is scrambling because the pay plans, and we keep coming back to pay plans because pay plans drive behavior. And
Right.
and that's something, and we know about this when we craft a pay plan. Do we want to make people behave in a normal human way that our customers like, or do we want to turn them into fiends at the end of the month trying to get their bonuses in a sales department that is not properly supervised, in a culture that like the ones we see in South Florida a lot is it's kind of like no holds barred on the
Yeah,
last day of the
you can
month.
blame it on Wall Street because all the car manufacturers are measured. Their CEOs,
Everything's
all the
monthly.
management is based on a 30-day cycle. So they squeeze out every sale they can every 30 days, and then they pass the squeeze along to the dealer because the dealer gets bonuses. Everybody gets bonuses. A lot of other countries that are more, I don't know what the word is,
Civilized.
level-headed, like maybe the Toyota Japan, they look at things on a yearly
Or quarterly.
or maybe a 5-year basis. America exists on a 30-day cycle.
Right, and it's kind
Right,
of
so
silly.
you're saying that that's the standard operating
Yes.
procedure for most dealerships,
And there
regardless
has
of what
never
state
been a
they're in?
dealership I've encountered that didn't have this thing built into their. Oops, sorry about that. Yeah, it's crazy because okay, think about what's happening. They're scrambling at the last day of the month to get sales in that would have normally happened on the first day of the very next month, but they're calling the customers. They're saying, "Get in here. Everything's going to change tomorrow. Price is going to go up." So now they've stolen business from the following month, which creates a desperate situation at the end of the month again, and it goes on forever.
I never thought about it that way. That's very interesting.
You
I
never
know that-
want
I
to
know
talk
for a
to
new-
the
I know
controller
for a new
or
car,
office
you have
manager
incentive.
at a car dealership on the last day of the
Right,
month.
it becomes-
They're very snippy.
Right. We cut it off.
Right.
There is no scramble. We don't do that anymore. It's not part of our culture. So
I didn't realize for the used car department if it was the same. I know the new car, you have manufacturers incentives
yeah.
for the monthly quotas.
Right.
And so forth
Yeah.
and so on.
You got it. But everything's set up by the dealer to maximize that. So it's going to mirror what the overall environment is, and that is primarily driven by manufacturers' incentives and.
There's something called a stair-step incentive, and you want to hear this, you won't believe it, but one car at the end of the month could mean $250,000 to the dealership.
Right.
One car.
Right. You think they're going to give a discount on that car? Probably, if they have to.
Right. Well, that would be, you mean in the new car department?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Here, take it. Let's just title it in your name, and here, just take the car.
Right.
And we're a lot richer.
Well, you know, there's a line in Casablanca where the fellow says, "There's gambling going on here. I'm shocked." and I would say that would be the true statement for the fellow with the service problems. So you know, and these things this has been going on down here forever. So
Absolutely.
when you're going, they're always trying to sell you something else.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
but in any case, Stu, you got a new routine now. 9 o'clock. You like my bank? You open up at 9.
That's what I have decided to do. But I got in here at 8:55 this morning. So.
All right.
Guys,
Work
tease
in
me.
progress. Thanks, Bob. Enjoy your
Well,
weekend.
you guys have a great Memorial Day weekend. Be
Thank
safe
you.
on the road.
All right,
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for enjoying our show. Okay, we're going to take a look at some texts. Maybe you too. What you guys got for me?
Let's look at Anne Marie's first. I'm sure she's got one waiting.
We
already
read hers.
did Anne Marie's.
See, that's what happens when you show up a little bit late. All right, I have some anonymous feedback.
Oh,
And,
great.
Cool.
They're always interesting.
Yeah, I find that CarMax offers fair buyout prices if you just want to sell your car instead of trading it in. Don't forget to factor in the tax reduction you get on a trade-in at a dealership and the cost of your ride home from CarMax. Sometimes it pays to trade in, other times it pays just to sell it to CarMax. And that can be true. But we always say that make sure you get a few sources. And there's a lot of really easy sources now with Carvana, CarMax. Everything can be done pretty much online. CarMax, you're going to talk to a person, but on Carvana, you can just do it without speaking to anybody. And there's some other sources you can do that.
It's better for the seller of a used car today than it's ever been. You've got so many different ways you can get a good price on your car. You can shop your used car trade-in like never before in history.
Absolutely, because here's something interesting that we don't talk about a lot. Every new car dealership that I can think of has what they call a VIP department, which is a title I hate, and it's kind of I don't even know why they call it VIP anymore. All it is a system put into place in a car dealership where they have employees, usually salespeople, approaching service customers to buy their car or to offer a free appraisal, and so some have an electronic system. Some dealers hang like these hang tags in the windows. Sometimes they'll have a person in the service drive speaking to every single person that comes in. Some use sophisticated computer systems which identify the cars that they truly need and the people that have equity that can get out of those cars the most easily. And so people are looking for these cars, and the reason for it is because it's hard to get used cars to sell in your used car department. When you buy them at the auction, you know what happens at an auction. You know, people are bidding up the price. So the cheaper used cars are usually the ones that dealers can get in on trade, are the ones they can buy in this sort of situation. We recommend if you're approached by a salesperson or anybody in a service drive, you can sell your car to them, but you're being put on the spot. You haven't thought about this. You haven't educated yourself. They're gonna give you a bunch of information telling you how much your car is worth, and that's fine. Take the information with you, and if you're interested in selling it, then go on to do what we say: is make a couple other calls, go online, and see if what they're offering is within reason. Yeah. I mean, so don't be surprised and agree to it right then and there. And but this is what we're seeing: is everybody's scrambling for inventory, but they see your car in the service drive is a cheaper car to get.
Yeah, and three opinions is definitely the way to go, without a doubt. And like we always say, knowledge is power. I see by the clock that we may have to go to our mystery shopping report. Are you prepared for that? Okay, that mystery shopping report is from a Bremen, a BMW Jupiter. You can vote. We look forward to your vote, and you can go to our text number, which is 772-497-6530, to vote on Bremen BMW Jupiter.
Okay. Just as an aside, I saw a cartoon on Facebook, and I posted it last week, I think it was.
On Instagram, I saw that too.
Yeah, it was just I'd seen the cartoon before, and for some reason I had a huge response, and everybody agreed with it. And the cartoon was of a customer in a BMW dealership, and he was talking to the salesman, and he said, "Who are those people over there?" And there were a bunch of people in front of a instructor, and they're sitting in chairs in the BMW showroom, and the title was, can I say it on the air?
Yes.
I'll
No, you can say ass because you're not referring to anatomy.
Go for it. And the subject title was how to drive like an ass.
Oh.
Okay. And but the point is, I found out that everybody thinks that BMW drivers are just rude. They don't care. They speed. They're bullies. They tailgate you.
I think this
and all
was
these other things.
proven.
Everybody believes that.
I think this was proven with a
and
study.
we put it on ChatGPT, and there was a ChatGPT says there are scientific studies that show that the personality of the people on the road with BMW. Now, this is obviously not everybody. I have friends that drive BMWs. There are really good people that drive BMWs, but
have you ever seen them driving on the road?
Maybe.
No, probably not.
Anyway, it's funny. Personalities do demonstrate by your car. You people know a little bit more about you psychologically by the car you choose. And BMW drivers are all crazy. I'm only kidding. You're not crazy. Some of you are.
Look at.
Here we go. Okay, mystery shop, Bremen BMW Jupiter. They're on Indiantown Road. That's in northern Palm Beach County. Speaking in the first person as if I were the famous Agent Lightning. I arrived around lunchtime, was greeted by a salesman who introduced himself as Jorge. I walked over to where the cars were parked. He followed me, asking, is there anything I can help you with today? Do you have any questions for me? I said, I really like the color combination of this car here. Now listen to these color names. This has something to do with the psychology of BMW drivers. It was a new 2025 BMW 330i in race blue metallic, R-A-C-E, vroom, race. Okay, see, BMW driver, and a cognac leather interior.
Very creative.
Drink and drive.
Very colorful. Hey,
Right, I didn't even think of that. I was like, whiskey.
If anyone's interested in what this race blue metallic is, it is a blue, a deep blue, and it has some metallic flakes. But depending upon the lighting, that could go reach deep, rich blue with purple tones. So.
I and all of our listeners just visualize that car. Thank you perfectly.
There's actually Toyota's coming out with a new color called Wave Maker,
Ooh, I like
which
that.
is like a
Surf
kind of
color?
slightly dark baby blue.
Ooh.
Remember
Daddy
last
like.
week I was talking about the
If
colors that
anybody's
were
interested, I have a mystery shopper
coming
report
out.
right
Sorry,
now.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have 20 minutes though. It's
MSRP, $51,230. The Monroney label was where it's belonged. Now that's a plus. This is South Florida, folks. Monroney label actually on the window. So let's give Bremen a little bit of credit for that. And there wasn't, listen to this, there was not any addendum. So here we go. The salesperson asked, would you like to take it for a test drive? I said yes. We headed inside because it had started to rain. Jorge walked over to his desk and handed me one of his business cards. He excused himself to get the keys and a license plate. When he returned, we went out to the car. He had me start it up. It was extremely hot, and believe me, it is hot here in Florida this time of year.
It's horrible.
Took a while to cool down. He rolled down the windows and suggested I start driving to help cool it off. We headed west on Indiantown Road. I could tell he was a bit nervous about me driving. He motioned for me to move into the slow lane so we could make a big loop back to the dealership. He kept looking in the mirrors and leaning toward the side, blocking my view of the mirrors when I tried to switch lanes. I mentioned, I got this. I've been driving for almost 35 years and haven't had any accidents.
Thank you, Agent Lightning.
You're like, settle down, kid. I got this.
Really. Yeah, Agent Lightning's got it.
Jorge apologized, sat back in his seat only to quickly say, "Watch out, there's a police officer sitting right there." So the officer ended up pulling out and following us. When I went to turn down the side street to return to the dealership, Jorge said, "Oh no, you can't go that way." I should have turned, but I kept going and said, "That police officer has been following me this entire time." Jorge became visibly nervous. You'll see what this is all about in a minute. Jorge became visibly nervous and said, "I didn't put the plates on the car," and pointed down to his feet. But I have them here in case you got pulled over. And this is standard operating procedure. Car dealerships, salesmen always got to find a plate to put on the car to take it for a demonstration ride. It's a lot of trouble to get down on your hands and knees and put a plate on.
I will
They have
say
magnets and things like that.
I will say this. Generally speaking, around a dealership, the police, the local police, know when they see a car with a big yellow 25 painted on it or a Monroney's label, and they know it's a test drive. And generally speaking, you're not bothered by the police near a dealership, probably.
That's true. Cops know the dealers. Back at the dealership, he had me pull into one of the handicap spots, and said someone would move the car later. I decided to back in, and he pointed out the car's cameras and 360-degree bird's eye view system. That irritated me a little bit, parking in a handicap spot, but that's because, I'm handicapped. We went inside to his desk where he asked for my license and contact information. Then he asked, "If all the numbers look good to you, how soon would you want to purchase, or are you looking to lease?" I said, "No, I'm looking to purchase." He replied, "That's better than leasing." Totally surprised me when I saw that phrase. The salesman, typically they try to push you into lease because dealers make more money leasing. This guy could be a rookie. Why he thinks buying is better than leasing, I'm not sure.
I can't say that. I don't know about BMW, but I know right now, like, the Toyota's lease programs are mid. Like you're not. It doesn't. It's not a good deal right now. They don't, because they're not incentivizing them.
It can be, on a particular.
So maybe it's just
situation.
So.
Excused himself to speak with his sales manager. After about 10 minutes, he returned and told me his boss really wanted to earn my business. It's always earn my business, and had significantly discounted the car. He said, I think you're going to be really happy, and showed me the MSRP on his phone, $51,230 from the window sticker, along with a piece of paper. The piece of paper. It was a worksheet with few details. It showed that I was getting a $5,875 discount from MSRP.
Hello.
That's a real whopper. My price was $45,355, but there was no other helpful information. I asked, "Can I get a printout with a breakdown of the dealer fee, taxes, and a new plate?" He replied, "You need a new plate?" I said, "Yes. I told you I'm not trading anything in." So I figured, I need a new plate. He said he'd be right back. About 5 minutes later, returned with the requested document. This worksheet revealed that I would be paying $989 pre-delivery service charge, junk fee. That's an old-fashioned euphemism for junk fee, pre-delivery service charge. That's what I used to call my dealer fee, which was $495.
Yeah. I remember
invented that term, by the way.
Pre-delivery service charge.
Yeah.
You're owed royalties on all of
They
this.
said we couldn't charge a delivery fee because we were already being reimbursed.
Yeah.
So I changed the name to pre-delivery.
You know what? You're owed a debt of
I've always been
billions from South Florida car dealers.
And a bogus $414 tag title processing fee. But that was it, other than tax and tag. He also said, "I printed a lease option for you in case you're interested," and showed me another sheet with lease payments. He asked, "What do you think? Would you like to move forward with purchasing the car?" I replied, "No, I told you from the beginning that I need to talk to my husband and before making any decisions." He asked, "Can you call him now?" so we could get the process started. I said, no, can't bother him while he's at work. I'll be in touch later. He then asked, would it be okay if my sales manager, George, came over to say hi? Interesting that his name was Jorge,
Right.
and his manager's name was George. It's our policy at the dealership. I stood up, and in less than a minute, the manager, George, came over, introduced himself, and asked if Jorge had done everything to my satisfaction. I said yes, and then I left. And there you have it, Jupiter, Florida, BMW, Bremen, BMW.
The only car dealership in Jupiter, Florida. The only car dealership in Jupiter, Florida.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was a long story there, but we haven't got time for it.
All right, well, let's see. This is kind of an easy one for me because
we're grading on the curve.
I am grading on the curve, of course, and they're getting a C because it was just a typical experience, and it wasn't a bad. I don't want to give them a C plus because that's the same thing as a B minus, but it was a pretty good C. This is something you're going to think
I
I'm
expect
weird.
more from a luxury car dealer, and so if anything,
It's true.
Yeah.
I did see, like, okay, here's something they did. I don't know if anybody noticed. Most of the mystery shops that we see are now combining these electronic filing fees and the private tag fees into one big fee. Like they're combining it with, so it looks like an $800 registration fee. And they didn't do this. They separated theirs out completely, so you could see what the state was getting and what Bremen was getting. And I don't care about the license plate thing. I mean, it's funny, and it might bother some people because you're supposed to drive.
Salesmanship.
It was a little sloppy, but it wasn't. It should have been more. He should have been reassuring, saying, "Don't worry about the plate. This is what we do every day."
Yeah, he should have said, "I'm going to put this in the back seat. All the cops know us around here, and we never get pulled over."
Yeah, but he created a kind of a stressful situation unnecessarily. There's that, and let's see if I can. We have ChatGPT, who's going to provide their grade along with me. ChatGPT says. Things started smooth. Jorge was friendly and on it. But the test drive, not so much. He forgot to put the plate on the car, so we're cruising in a brand new BMW with a cop behind us and the plate at his feet. Not a great look. He offered a decent $5,875 discount, but the price sheet was vague and packed with about $1,400 in junk fees. Then he pushed the shopper to call her husband on the spot to close the deal. Final grade, C. Not terrible, but from a luxury brand, this felt more like a valet with amnesia.
I just had a great thought. What if we fed MP3 files, audio files, into ChatGPT for every one of our podcasts on the Mystery Shopping Reports?
Hey, Jonathan, what do you think about that?
Got the files.
I don't know. I mean, we could.
He'd know everything we know.
Oh, yeah, it's like commit this to memory.
Yeah.
We could create, because, on ChatGPT, there are little bots or specialty ChatGPTs that are created. Like you can have one that's, especially for screenwriting. Sure. We could create a recovering car dealer bot that knows everything that you do and we do. All right. I'll put that on the list.
Yeah,
of things to do.
I'll put it on the list.
All right, more grades.
Okay. We've got Bob from Maryland says, Agent Lightning could have ended up with a charge of Grand Theft Auto. It's a B. See if we have any more. Okay.
I want to interject because we do have a little time. I want to say this, though. That happens, and it's happened to us. It even happened to us, I'd say, about 10 years ago. Because I remember it was before the big remodel we did. And we had a missing plate. It wasn't a missing, that's right, it wasn't a missing car. It was a missing plate that had been reported stolen by one of our salespeople without anybody's knowledge. And somebody was put out on a ride and was pulled over by the town of Palm Beach police, and with guns and everything. And it was a horrible, embarrassing thing that we were completely at fault with.
I recall.
Wow.
Yeah, I know you recall because I think they called you guys.
Not only that happened to me also. So
boy.
that's another show. Okay.
Right.
Any other
Okay.
votes?
Frank in Jupiter Farms says mystery shop is a C, but an A for the color combination.
Yeah, with Frank. Yeah.
And we'll keep watch on that one as we go on to say Negan 1 says junk fees equals D. Cliff's Picks fees added on once again, but this one is a C minus. T Cash says C. Let me block this mirror so we can move forward with this deal. What's behind us is behind us. Joseph Kelleher, D plus. Junk fees and high registration fees are the reasons for the D plus grade. Cliff's Pick says, I love ChatGPT and I use it for lots of searches. Over here we have Tom Steckel says, C plus, no addendums, straightforward, exactly the same junk fees as Fields BMW in Orlando. Tim Gilliland says C. Brian Sedlatko, C. Mark Smith, I'll give the dealership a C. Mark H, C. Junk fees, test drive weirdness. Johnny Z. Fradley, C. Fees not too bad, and the tire battery fee was only $5.50. Such a bargain. Kim appreciates life better than most. C. Brian Sedlatko, nice backdrop, Jonathan. Jonathan gets an A.
What is that? I haven't even seen what it is.
Johnny Z. Fradley
Flags,
says,
probably. Yeah.
my dealer forgot to put a temp tag on my car. I didn't notice until after my 60-mile drive back home.
Oh, boy.
But they did overnight the tag to him. For myself, I'm going to give this one a B. I mean, they've got a few junk fees on there, I know, but they really kind of seemed like they gave the out-the-door price right at the beginning, even though the fees were included in it.
You're going to piss off all of your fans.
I really didn't see anything, for South Florida, these guys were almost angels compared to what some of what we see. So in my opinion, I'm going to say with a B, solid B on Bremen.
Yeah. Bremen generally in South Florida, they do better. I think they're not notorious. Just they got a lot of dealerships and.
Okay, guys, I'm going to vote. Excuse me, Stu, and we're running out of time. I on so many levels here, I find this mystery shopping report. I don't know. I was just scratching my head. First of all, the salesperson, was he wanted in another state? By his. I don't know what to say, except this. Pardon me.
He seemed nervous. I didn't think of that aspect. That he really didn't want the cops to.
I mean, he's talking about the police. He's talking about he wants her to move over into the slow lane or whatever lane. He's throwing caution to the wind as far as the disabled parking place. There was just so much that went on here. And was he, I don't know, controlling, protective? I don't know what he was trying to do. But Agent Lightning had to say, I've been driving for 35 years. So, unless we're on a heist here, keep your opinions to yourself and let me enjoy this, this ride. So that's my opinion. I give him a D minus.
I'm going to give him a C plus. Rick changed my mind. I was going to just give him a C. I give him a C plus. I mean, I don't think he was wanted. I don't think the salesman was wanted, but.
You heard that here, folks. Grade was raised. You were Rick. You swayed him. That's pretty good. All right, so the final grade is a C plus.
Yeah.
There we
And
go.
for the record, I probably have driven thousands of our used cars out on the road for test driving purposes, looking for issues.
Yeah.
And I almost never even bothered bringing a tag with me.
You're right.
And I never once got pulled over.
Yeah.
It just the police see a technician in a uniform, and obviously you're driving a company-owned vehicle, and they're just okay.
All you car thieves out there, all you car thieves, remember, all you have to do when you get pulled over and say, why don't you have a tag, is just say, I'm a mechanic and I work at the car dealership over there, and I left it back on my bench.
Right. Yeah. Or like the salesman said, I didn't need a tag. I'm just test driving this thing.
I was actually more nervous about the idea that I might get pulled over in a customer's car that shall we say, smelled of an illicit
Oh, that happens
material
too.
Uh-oh.
when I'm test driving it for a customer.
Right. Well, we've told you're allowed to refuse to test drive the car if it's a
Oh,
safety reason.
Yeah, if it gets really bad.
Yeah, we've had some things that were so disgusting and
For health
unsanitary.
reasons,
We said
yeah.
no, we can't service the car.
Yep.
There's animals in there. We can hear them.
Yeah.
Don't forget to pick up a copy of the Washington Post and see the full page ad,
Yeah.
and where we asked Jeff Bezos to make us a approved Amazon new car dealer.
And if anybody out there has any connections to
Tomorrow,
Jeff Bezos,
Sunday, Washington Post.
Yeah.
Sunday, Washington Post.
if anybody has any connection through family or business to Jeff Bezos, tell them to check it out.
Yeah.
Because it's a really nice letter. He'll like it. He'll read it, and
Yeah.
and it's a good thing.
Absolutely. How much time do we have, Jonathan?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay. Something
I
you
have.
wanna
I
mention?
love old stories. This whole Bremen thing brought me back to the day when I was, younger and a Toyota dealer, and Toyota was putting a lot of pressure. They put the pressure on all car dealers. Even today, they like lots of dealerships. They like new dealerships. Wherever you are, they want you in a better location. So there's always that tension between the car dealers and, in this case, Toyota, the manufacturer. So they wanted me to build in North Palm Beach and Jupiter and Juneau, and the reason they were wanting me to go there is because BMW was there, which is who we mystery shop today. So there was a big plot of land next to that dealership, BMW, and it was owned by Bev Smith, actually Nick Smith, his son. So Nick Smith was getting pressure to relocate there too, and he had that land. So I got with Nick and I said, you tell Ford and I'll tell Toyota that we're going to build here, but we can't get approval from the Jupiter, which we couldn't get approval from Jupiter because somehow BMW slipped in the door there. Bremen did. I don't know how he did. So he kept Toyota off my back for years and years, and Ford off his back for years and years.
Well, there used to be a Dodge dealership there,
Yeah.
and I
Yes.
think the BMW took
Yeah.
them over.
Yeah.
Yes, there was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Jupiter Dodge.
Yeah, and I think they might have got in before Jupiter started saying, no, we're not allowing anybody.
Yeah, he did.
Got grandfathered in.
Well, I'm keeping my eye on that place. I live right around the corner practically, so they're
I
not doing
forgot
so
about
bad.
the
Maybe it'll
Dodge, yeah.
be a shorter drive for me to work.
Earl, I don't miss those rides. I don't miss those drives that we did looking for so-called property. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, happy Memorial Day. Have a wonderful, safe weekend, and we'll be right back here next week, and same time, 8 a.m. until 10. Thank you for joining us. You're a huge part of the show, and we'll see you right back here next weekend, Saturday morning.